Today, we are diverting from the usual kind of videos I do. This one isn't about geopolitics or economics or history. It's about something quieter, but far more universal. An idea that shapes how we see almost everything in life. The belief that if something is popular, it must be good. But what if that belief is wrong? Have you ever loved a song that no one else seemed to care about? Or watched a movie that left you speechless, only to hear your friends call it boring? It's a strange feeling, isn't it? Because in that moment, you realize something powerful. That quality doesn't always get applause. Sometimes, it just gets silent. When we look around us, it's easy to believe that popularity and quality go hand in hand. Look at Sachin Tendulkar or Virat Kohli. Both are legends, loved by millions, and genuinely exceptional at what they do. The same goes for A.R. Rahman in music or Shah Rukh Khan in cinema. Icons who've achieved massive popularity without losing their brilliance. So somewhere in our collective mind, we start believing that being popular automatically means being great. But that's not always true. In fact, most of the time, it's not. Imagine a bell curve. It's a simple, smooth, hill-shaped graph. On one side, you have beginners, people who are new to an idea or an art form. On the far side, you have experts, people who've studied, practiced, and mastered it. And right in the middle, you have the majority. That's where most people are. Now, when something is simple, familiar, and easy to digest, it appeals to that big middle section, the general audience. That's where popularity comes from. But when something is complex, layered, or subtle, only the people on the far right of the curve, the ones with deep understanding, truly get it. The rest might find it confusing, slow, or dull. And that's why, very often, the higher the quality, the smaller the crowd. It's not because the art is bad. It's because fewer people are equipped to appreciate it. Let's take Indian cinema. Movies like People Live,
अरे हमरा बच्चे ले तो अपनी जान देके जमीन बचा ले।
अरे तुम काहे दे भैया जान, हम दे दें जान।
ठीक है, तू ही दे दे जान। देखो मुकरना मत, 2 मिनट की बात है। हाँ?
Court, October,
कुछ ज्यादा इफेक्टेड नहीं हो रहा
तुम लोग इतने अनअफेक्टेड कैसे हो?
लेकिन इस तरह सब छोड़ छाड़ के थोड़ा ना बैठ जाएंगे।
or Ship of Theseus.
If all the discarded parts were used to build another ship, which of the two, if either?
Are some of the most honest, introspective, and finely crafted films this country has ever produced. But they didn't break box office records. They didn't become household names. Meanwhile, movies like Ek Tha Tiger or Pathan made hundreds of crores.
पढ़ना बहुत important है।
पढ़ाते पढ़ाते खुद मत पढ़ जाना।
Not because they're inherently better, but because they're built for that big, comfortable middle of the bell curve. They're easy to follow, fast-paced, emotionally direct, and don't ask too much from the viewer. They give instant satisfaction. And instant satisfaction sells. That's why we confuse visibility with value. The louder something is, the more we notice it. And the more we assume it must be great. But often, the quietest art is the one with the deepest roots. To truly appreciate high-level art, you need high-level understanding. A person who's never studied music might find a raga repetitive. But to a trained ear, that same raga is a universe of emotion and structure. Similarly, someone watching Masan or October without understanding film language might say, nothing happens in this movie.
अब तो हम फ्रेंड हो गए हैं ना।
But a filmmaker or cinephile sees it differently. Every pause, every silence, every frame says something. It's storytelling without shouting. And that requires a viewer who's willing to listen quietly. The problem isn't that people don't get it. It's that our exposure, our artistic vocabulary, is limited. You can't appreciate what you haven't been trained to notice. It's not ignorance. It's simply a knowledge gap. This gap isn't new. It's been around forever. Take Vincent van Gogh, one of the greatest painters who ever lived. In his lifetime, he sold only one painting. He died poor, unknown, and depressed. Today, his paintings are worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
So, congratulations to you again. And 619.
Or think of Nikola Tesla, a visionary inventor whose work powers much of our modern world. He died in a small hotel room, broke and forgotten. While Thomas Edison, a more commercially minded inventor, became a household name. Closer home, Satyajit Ray had to pawn his wife's jewelry to finish Pathir Panchali. That movie went on to win global acclaim and put Indian cinema on the world map. But at the time, the audience didn't understand it because it wasn't loud, it wasn't glamorous, it was just real. And real takes time to recognize. Even in literature, the same story repeats. Munshi Premchand wrote stories about poverty and dignity when the world wanted escapism. His books didn't sell like pulp fiction, but they built the foundation for generations of Indian writers.
अब इससे आपके हाथ भी नहीं जलेंगे दादी माँ। इससे आप रोटी पका सकती हैं।
मैं तुम्हें लेके लाया हूँ। ये देखो, तुम्हें चंद्रहार चाहिए था ना? ये देखो जालिमा।
इसमें बेगुनाहों का खून लगा है, बेवाओं के आंसू, यतीमों की आहें लगी हैं।
True quality often blooms in silence. It waits for the world to catch up. So why do we prefer what's popular? Psychologists have an answer. They call it the mere exposure effect. It means the more we hear or see something, the more we start to like it. Not because it's better, but because it's familiar. Our brains love familiarity. It feels safe. That's why radio stations keep repeating the same songs. That's why YouTube and Spotify keep recommending what's already trending. Algorithms don't promote quality. They promote comfort. And the more we consume what's familiar, the less we explore what's new. We start mistaking repetition for excellence. And that's how mediocrity goes viral. This happens everywhere. In art, music, politics, even education. In politics, the loudest voice often wins, not the most thoughtful one. On social media, quick, flashy content outperforms nuance. In education, big coaching institutes with billboards and ads attract thousands, while quiet teachers who genuinely transform students rarely get noticed. Popularity rewards visibility. Quality rewards depth. And both rarely travel together. To make this more relatable, think about food. Most people love butter chicken. It's creamy, familiar, satisfying.
तंदूरी चिकन, थोड़ा सा टमाटर, थोड़ा सा क्रीम, बहुत सारा बटर और लक बाय चांस। And that's how the story started for butter chicken.
But few appreciate the subtle complexity of a slow-cooked Hyderabad thali, or the layered simplicity of a South Indian thali, when every item has balance and meaning. Fast food is popular because it's easy. Fine cuisine demands patience and an educated palate. Or take music. Arjit Singh's love songs dominate every playlist, and for good reason. They're emotional, simple, and beautifully sung. But then there's Kaushiki Chakraborty, who can hold an entire audience spellbound with a single classical alam. Her music isn't mainstream because it demands a different kind of listening. An attention span most people don't practice anymore. And that's the point. The more something requires us to pause and think, the fewer people it reaches. Let me share something personal. I remember when I first watched Ship of Theseus. I didn't fully understand it. It felt confusing, almost alien. But a few years later, I watched it again. And suddenly everything clicked. The movie hadn't changed, I had. I had read more, experienced more, thought more. And that extra bit of understanding made me realize that good art doesn't just entertain you, it evolves with you. You grow into it. That's the beauty of quality. It rewards you at the pace of your growth. But this confusion between popularity and quality isn't just about art. It has serious consequences. When societies start believing that popularity equals value, they begin rewarding what's visible instead of what's valuable. Leaders start performing instead of leading. Journalists start chasing clicks instead of truth.
क्या इजरायली यहूदी ही यदुवंशी है अर्थात हमारे यादव है?
Teachers start teaching for exams instead of curiosity. And everyone, everywhere, begins playing safe. Because risks don't trend. When applause becomes the measure of worth, mediocrity becomes the norm. We stop asking for excellence and start settling for what's entertaining. And that's how entire generations forget what quality even looks like. But thankfully, not everyone has surrendered to the system. There are rare artists who found a way to bridge the gap, to bring depth and meaning into the mainstream. A.R. Rahman is one of them. His compositions are rooted in classical discipline, layered with world sounds, yet accessible to every listener, whether they understand Rag Yaman or not. He makes complex music sound simple, and that's his genius. Aamir Khan has done the same in cinema. From Lagan to Tare Zameen Par to Dangal, he's made movies that are thoughtful and meaningful, yet still massively successful. He never dumbs things down. He elevates the audience instead. He trusts that people are capable of growing. And that's why his work lasts longer than trends.
वो हमने क्लाइमैक्स में उसका इस्तेमाल किया है इस तरह जैसे लोग क्रिकेट को रिएक्ट कर रहे
They both sit at the sweet spot of that bell curve, where art meets accessibility, where commerce meets conscience. They remind us that popularity and quality can coexist, but it takes rare balance and relentless intent. The truth is, India itself is evolving. Our audience today is far more curious and exposed than ever before. OTT platforms have given people access to international cinema, documentaries, indie music, world art, and slowly, the bell curve is shifting. People are learning to appreciate subtlety, storytelling, and realism. Movies like Dali Boy and The Lunchbox prove that there's now space for both thought and thrill, for depth and entertainment. As viewers, we have power. Every time we choose to watch something meaningful, to share something intelligent, to talk about something beyond the trending hashtag, we help quality rise a little higher on that curve. We shift the algorithm, not just of the internet, but of culture itself. Because the future of art depends not only on creators, but also on the audience, on us. So the next time you see something that's less popular, don't dismiss it. Give it time. Maybe it's not made for everyone. Maybe it's made for those who are ready to understand. Greatness isn't always loud. It's often quiet, patient, and timeless. And it doesn't need 100 million views to matter. Because popularity fades, trends vanish, but quality endures. If you enjoyed this reflection, subscribe to Periscope, where we explore how ideas, art, and culture shape the world beyond the noise of popularity.